Hello there, my name is Valerie White Williams and I am a voice teacher and a vocal coach for Vocal Splendor Studios. Today I'm doing another reaction video and this time I'm reacting to a singer that so many people have requested, and it is Adelways Lay. She is singing the Magic Flute on Voice Kids in Indonesia. So let's have a listen. I think she's singing the Queen's Vengeance Aria. And that's one of the arias I've sung more than ever. So let's have a listen. I'm going to stop for a minute. Yes, it's not the Magic Flute. It is the Queen's Vengeance Aria, or also Der Holographie. Yes. So far, pretty interesting. This song is a beast. It's really fast. But the German isn't completely perfect, but she's doing a really good job, and she's singing in the original key. Because a lot of times when people do opera, they're not doing the original key, and that's fine. But let's keep going. Tahan dulu. Okay, pretty impressive for a 10-year-old, I think. She had to put a lot of work on that. And the famous thing about this one is there's 4 high Fs. It's really high. And not everybody has a high F, but yeah, it's kind of death-defying, actually. So let's keep going. All right, I stopped it there because I don't speak Indonesian or whatever language they are speaking. But that was quite an interesting performance. And because I've sung this so much, I think I started when I was 24. And I don't know if you know what this aria is really about. This is from the Magic Flute by Mozart. It was one of his Singspiel. It was really written for the common people. And that was really kind of interesting. It also includes kind of almost like musical theater. There's lots of dialogue in it. So they're not singing, they sing and then they speak, kind of like musical theater. So this is the Queen of the Night's Vengeance Aria, Der Holographie in, yeah, can't remember the whole thing, sorry. My memory's not the best as it used to be. So, but that is what happens is Pamina, the Queen's mother, is basically, her daughter's been stolen by her rival, basically. And so she's threatening her daughter. She finds her daughter. She's a magical creature. And she threatens her daughter that if you don't kill Zoroastro, I'm going to disown you. You're not my daughter anymore. that's what it's about. It's really intense. And when I was even a young person, I found it really difficult because I would never tell my daughter to kill somebody, but that's exactly what it is. And I've actually sung this on concerts. I've sung it in auditions. I've sung it on competitions. I've sung it on the stage multiple times. And yeah, to hold the knife in my hand. So it's kind of interesting to see a little kid sing this. However, it's kind of hard for her to bring that whole story, but her technique was pretty good. Now, when I look at little kids singing, I want them to sound like a little kid, which she did. She didn't sound like she was trying to be really mature, but this piece is so incredibly high. Now, the other thing that I saw is she's just had what I'm always looking for, this really relaxed jaw, really nice control. You have to have a lot of breath energy to actually get to those higher notes. And she did pretty well. Now, the diction wasn't very good, I'll be honest, but I don't expect that, especially for a kid, especially from somebody who maybe doesn't understand German, because that's the other thing. You got to sing in German and be that open, because it's hard, because the German is very crunchy. The other thing is that they did take a cut. She cut through the middle section, that part. That was always the hardest part for me, because I've always had good high notes, but that's a really hard part. So they kind of cut through that, and they went right to the end, where she does her final threat to Pamina, kill him or else, but pretty impressive. It was really fun. Obviously, she had to have someone teach her this. It's very challenging. So maybe that's why the German wasn't the best. Maybe she taught herself. I don't know. Unfortunately, there was no English translation during this production, so I couldn't really tell what people are saying or know the backstory about her. But yeah, I can see why this has gone viral, because it's pretty impressive to see a little kid sing something like that. It reminds me of a video I saw many, many years ago, and it might still be online, of a boy about the same age, and he also sang the Queen of the Night's Vengeance aria, and he also did a really good job with it. Now, here's the thing about this particular piece is that children have an easier time of singing high notes because it comes naturally to them. And yes, you have to kind of train and get your voice. She was really stable in her posture. She used all the right technique, which was good. Some of it wasn't as scary, because the Queen of the Night is supposed to scare you. She's like the villain, which is weird because I'm not a villain, I'm nice, but I've sung it so much, and partly because I've sung it a lot and cast it, because I have that Nordic ice queen look, and I'm tall, and so it always fit my voice. So I've sung it, I've lost count, but she did such a great job with it, the diction notwithstanding. But kids have higher voices naturally. That's what happens. So even with the unchanged boy voice, or even the girls go through a vocal change as well when they go through puberty. It's not as extreme as the boys. So with children, boys and girls pretty much have the same kind of voice. I mean, there's soprano boys, there's alto boys, soprano girls, alto boys. That's why they call children's choirs treble voices, treble choirs, because they're all going to be in the higher voice. But then when they go through puberty, the voice shifts somewhat. And so for boys, obviously, they're going to do an octave jump. They're going to become much lower. Women don't have as extreme, totally different voice, but it actually gets fuller. So what happens when you're a young singer, like 10, 11, 12, for girls, you might feel like a bit of a chipmunk, at that stage. And then as you grow older go through puberty and your voice starts maturing, it's going to get a little more fullness. This is usually pretty typical. And sometimes people can sing really, really high when they're young, and then they just don't have the same voice as they go through puberty, because there's no guarantee. Even with boys, some of the boys that we call boy sopranos that train this, they might become a bass. They might become a tenor. We just don't know. You really don't know as the voice matures. So that's why people like to not be too hard on young voices, because we want them to blossom and have a sense of ease and discovery as they go into their adult voice. Because I've seen and heard lots of tragic stories where young children, especially a trained male voice, if they sing a lot as a boy soprano, even professionally in these choirs, sometimes when their voice changes, they experience a midlife crisis as a young teen, because what they used to be able to do very easily, they can't do anymore. and it's just not appropriate for their voice because the voice shifts, it thickens, it grows. Same thing happens to a lot of women. There's a lot of girls that had very pure soprano voices before they went through puberty, where their voice actually gets a bit thicker, a little bit richer. And sometimes the high notes they used to sing as a middle schooler, they don't have that. Now, sometimes they do. It really depends because the voice is still maturing through the 20s. And that's a really important thing to think about because we need to protect those voices and make sure that they're growing in a way that's going to allow the new voice to emerge. Because that's the thing about child singers, is that the voice is going to change. It's going to change. We don't know how it's going to change, but we want to nurture it, water it like a little flower so it can grow into what it's supposed to do. And we can't predict either. We can't predict a mature voice what it's going to be later. We have to wait for that change, and then we'll see from there. And that's why there's been traditionally voice teachers have not wanted to teach children. Luckily that's changing, but that idea was we don't want to push the voice until we go through puberty. Now, I do teach kids. I'm even working with a 4-year-old today, but we sing age appropriate music. Now that said, with Adelways, she did great. I didn't see any technical issues that she needs to be aware of. Luckily, that piece is very light and it's very bright, and she obviously has the voice for it. And it's high pressure. So kudos to her, kudos to her family, because I'd like to see what happens next with her. But the voice is going to change and grow. So that's what we're going to be up against, but it is impressive. I just wish it's not the Magic Flute. It is the Queen's Vengeance Aria, but maybe that sounds too scary to talk about again. The knife. Now, when I first started singing the Queen of the Night, I was probably around 23 or so like that. And I had a lot of people say, oh my gosh, cluck, 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 cluck. You got to be careful. You might be too young for that. You should maybe sing it. We want to make sure you can sing it until you're older. Well, what happened? I was then singing it a long time, and I have sung it until I was older. I haven't sung it recently, I'll be honest, but I think I'd have to train back into it because you sing that high normally. Those Fs are a beast. And that's where the rubber hits the road. Many people have high notes, but they don't all have those Fs. And not only that, they have to be totally consistent. So yeah, this was fun. I'm glad that I got to react it. I'm probably the perfect reactor for this because I've sung it so much. In fact, I think I'm planning on doing a reaction on my channel to me singing this at one of the times that was filmed. So I'm going to go forward in doing that. So if you love listening to children's singers, let me know, and let me know some others. I'm kind of like not super excited about the whole reality TV shows and what can happen to these singers, because I feel that so many of these young singers turn into money makers for their family, and then that puts them at jeopardy with their voice growing as the way it should. I approve of the people that allow the children to sing, but not be the moneymakers, so their voice can mature in their own way, so they can get through the turbulent teens into their adult voice relatively unscathed, and so they can explore their voice as the voice changes when they get older. All right, and if you want lessons, I have been teaching on lessons online since 2011, and so I'm really experienced working with singers of all kinds, opera, pop, whatever. I've done it all, rock, metal, online. And so if you want some lessons, you can go to my website at vocalsplendor.com. And last of all, I'd like to talk to you guys that I have 2 free passion projects on Facebook. The first group is called Creative Soul Alignment, and that's a group where we are about spirituality and creativity. And we're merging that because we are here to be creators. And when we create, we are experiencing the divine. And then the other group is called YouTube Success Strategies, and that's where I'm teaching people how to succeed on YouTube, because I've been on YouTube for over 10 years. I've learned so much, and I have a system to teach others how to succeed. All right, you can find all the information below in the description. Right there. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.